everybody, and welcome back to Tales from the Road. My name is Marcos Casiano, where I tell you about some of my adventures traveling the highways and byways of the U.S. and sometimes Canada. On my last adventure, or my last tale, I think we stopped in Virginia, and we were headed up the East Coast. So the next part of this trip takes place in New Jersey, which is the next stop. We had played in Virginia. Now we got a gig in New Jersey. I don't remember the name of the town. I think it was Brooklyn, New Jersey. It was almost across the street from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, because I remember we talked about maybe, because we're getting close to the end of the baseball season, because it's like September, about going to a baseball game at the former Veterans Stadium, but it never materialized. So we were driving up there. We get to the club. We get into the club, and there's some old cranky lady behind the bar. Where are you guys from? Oh, we're from Nashville. And she goes, oh, another band from Nashville. Oh, she was happy to see us, I could tell. So anyways, we set up our equipment, and this particular club, the only thing I didn't like was they had a band room upstairs, and it wasn't the nicest band room in the world. It was like pretty run down. Band rooms in general, or when they put you in a band house, are usually not good situations. They're just not that. They're pretty drab, is what I want to say. In this place, I remember the mattresses, even though they might have had a box spring, they were on the floor. The place just didn't look all that clean. But hey, this is what we got to make the best of for the next week. Like I said, a lot of times when you're on the road, you have to take a little good with the bad. We're not big stars, so we have no choice. So anyways, we deal with it, and we're not that far from New York City, because across the street we're near the Walt Whitman Bridge in Philadelphia. We're about an hour and a half out of New York. So our guitar player, he was from New York. He was from the Queens, and he gets this idea, and it was a good idea. He says, you know what? Let's go to New York and spend a day in New York. I'll show you guys around, because he was from there. And he goes, we can rent a car. He said, there's a thing called Rent-A-Wreck, where you can rent like an old car, like an old beat up car, and it's very cheap, So we look around. We went to, for a while, I remember there was like a parking lot that had like a Sears building, not a building, but it was like a little place where you could order stuff from Sears. It wasn't actually a store, but they had a rent-a-car place there. And, because by this time we found out there's no such thing as Rent-A-Wreck. But anyways, there's 5 of us, so we rent a pretty decent car. It wasn't all that expensive. So we head up to New York City. It's a lot of fun, because New York's kind of an exciting city if you've never been there, just to hang out. And again, our guitar player, Sandy, he knew his way around. He knew all the nooks and crannies, because he was from there. So we're touring the city, going here and there, and it's just a blast. Sometime in the afternoon, we end up in Manhattan. It has to be Manhattan, and we're on the street walking around, looking at everything. That's pretty cool. And I hear a guy saying, "Okay, everybody, line up here." And I look over, and people are lining up, and I ask the guy, what's this for? What are people lining up for? He goes, oh, this is for the David Letterman show. If you want to go to the David Letterman show, line up here, line up here. So I motioned to the other guys in the band, hey, come on, we can get in and we can watch the David Letterman show. This is before he was in the Ed Sullivan building. I think this was still the NBC building. So they put us in this big elevator. It's big. They take us up to, I can't remember, I don't know if it was a 32nd floor. We get out of the elevator, we go into the studio where they're going to tape the show. We're some of the last people there, so we're kind of in the back. And I remember it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. We're going to see the David Letterman show. And a guy comes out, and he addresses the crowd, and he tells exactly what's going to happen. I think he says something to the effect that you're going to be here 1 hour, band's going to come out and do a song. I don't know if they did 1 or 2 songs. Then David will come out, he'll address the crowd, he'll probably tell a few jokes, and then he'll go away, and then boom, the show will start, and you're going to be in and out of there in 1 hour. And I'll tell you what, that show works like clockwork. I mean, you're in and out of there 1 hour. It was really a lot of fun to watch the band play live. I remember Will Lees jumping all over the place. He gets up on David Letterman's desk, he's playing, he's just all over the place. They're really good. Then they get done playing. I remember Letterman comes out, addresses the crowd. He might tell a few jokes. He doesn't talk very long. I think he might say who the guests are, who the guests of the show are going to be. Then, he goes away, and then boom, the band plays the intro music. Letterman comes out again, does his show. I mean, boom, boom, boom. It's like clockwork. They're done. It was a really fun time. I mean, they usher us out. We get back on the elevator, and I remember going down on the elevator as I'm in the lobby of this building. I guess it's the NBC building. Will Lee passes me. He was the bass player, and I said, "Will, how you doing?" And I was surprised that he actually stopped. I thought he would just walk by and just wave. He actually stopped, like, oh, he wanted to talk to me. So I talked to him for, it wasn't very long. I shook his hand. I told him I enjoyed the show. He was very nice. He smiled the whole time, and then he just went off. It's one of those moments where I should have asked him where he was going, because he had his bass in a gig bag. Maybe he was going. It's about 5 o'clock now, because the show was taped from 5 to 4. And I think maybe he was going to a gig, maybe he's going to a recording session, but it's one of those things that it happened all so fast. I was surprised to see him that I didn't ask him where he was going, but the fact that he stopped and would talk to me, I thought was pretty cool. So it was a fun time. I think we even had some New York style pizza. We get done. It's like 5 o'clock. We hang around some more in New York, and I think we get back to New Jersey maybe somewhere around 11 midnight. It was a lot of fun. We returned our car, which was not a rent-a-wreck, but it was a lot of fun. And the gig basically went off without a hitch, even though we had that cranky lady behind the bar. But it was fun, and that was the end of it. And then we did our gig, and the next stop is actually Canada, and I'll tell you about that more later. All right, bye-bye.